Hello, a very good morning. Welcome along to Ireland AM on Virgin Media One. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of August.
Yes, we've got plenty coming up on today's show, from TikTok trends to car care. Do you know what, Tommy? Let's get into it.
Plus a whole lot more.
Let's do it.
First up, though, on the agenda, new report revealed that universities are short 30,000 beds for students this year. We're going to be hearing a student's experience of finding accommodation very shortly. We'd love to hear your opinion on it. Are you a landlord?
Yes.
Are you struggling, to get students in? Are you a student? Are you a parent of a student and you can't find a bed for love nor money? 0896 111 111. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we were trying to get through to landlords yesterday and we couldn't, so we really would like to hear from you today. Jake Carter and Karen Byrne, they're going to be joining us in studio to chat about chatting, essentially. There's a whole thing that they do.
Their upcoming dance retreat, that's what I want to hear about. Cha-cha-cha. Going in the sunshine.
Can you do a cha-cha-cha in a Scouse accent?
Cha-cha-cha. Turkey burger. No. We're going to be chatting to Jake about his accent probably later on.
His turkey burger issues.
Well done, yes.
Thank you so much. Tell you about that in a while.
Looking forward to that. And also in Craft Corner, we're going to be in full swing a little bit later on, as we're going to be trying out some Bohemian-inspired textile techniques.
The way you say cha-cha-cha in Scouse, it's just so good. Can I have another lash of it?
I thought you were going to talk about Bohemian-styled
No, I loved your
textiles.
cha-cha-cha, the Scouse cha-cha-cha.
Anyway.
Alan, what else is coming up in the show?
What are the two of yous waffling on about in there?
No idea, Al. Coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
Now, we're outside here with Geraldine Herbert, and we're going to be talking about infotainment systems in cars and how that technology can be quite dangerous and a distraction. Good morning to Geraldine.
Good morning, Alan.
And when you see the new cars, I mean, the screens, all the stuff in it is huge now, isn't it?
It is, and it's getting really, really complex. You need to drill down through lots of menus to get to things. So there is a question being asked at the moment, is it time, to rethink this whole area?
Yeah. Because you're watching it, you're doing stuff, there's so much happening on the actual screen.
And you're taking your eyes off the road.
And you are taking your eyes off the road.
That's the issue.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we'll be talking about that. And of course, talking about this car. What is it?
The Cupra Born. It's an all-electric, small, family-sized hatchback.
And we'll be looking at that a little later on. Derek's in the Phoenix Park this morning. How are you getting on, Derek?
Yes, good morning, Al. We're live down here in the Phoenix Park this morning. It's a dry and settled start. In fact, some good sunshine, guys. You'll be glad to hear out there today. And warming up pretty nicely too, with values up to around 19 to 22 degrees, best across the sunny southeast. Now, Dublin Zoo up and running, 191 years, almost to the day. But did you know that there's actually a city farm within the zoo? They have 3 brand new little piglets. They're looking for names. I'm thinking Tommy Wern and Alan, but we're going to get more creative and we're going to put it out to the viewers. So we want the viewers to get involved this morning and naming our little piglets. We're off to visit the zoo later on. Come with us.
Amazing, Derek. Amazing. Yes, OK, get your names in. The quirkier, the better. 0896 111 111. We'd love to hear from you
Exactly.
as well. Thank you very much, Derek. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on, but now it is time to get over and get the news with Geraldine Lynagh.
Thanks, Tommy. Good morning. Triathlon Ireland says it told the organisers of last weekend's Ironman in Cork, in which 2 competitors died, that it couldn't sanction the event. The national governing body for triathlon said it carried out a water safety assessment on the day, but due to the adverse conditions, it could not sanction the race to proceed. 45-year-old Brendan Wall and 64-year-old Ivan Chittenden died in separate incidents during the swim element of the race on Sunday in Youghal. In an earlier statement, the organisers of the event, Ironman Ireland, said its safety team had carried out checks on the day and had determined that water conditions were safe to swim in. It said the course was shortened due to the weather conditions at the time. US President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden have toured parts of Hawaii devastated by a wildfire 2 weeks ago. They visited the charred ruins of the town of Lahaina and met first responders. They also took an aerial tour of the area. 114 people have been confirmed dead in what was the deadliest wildfire in the US in over a century. 850 people are still missing. President Biden described the devastation as overwhelming and vowed to help those affected.
The country grieves with you, stands with you, and will do everything possible to help you recover, rebuild, and respect culture and traditions when the rebuilding takes place.
One person has been killed and 2 others seriously injured in a road accident in Swinford in County Mayo. The 2-vehicle collision occurred on the N5 at 4:30 yesterday afternoon. A female passenger in her 70s was killed, while the male driver of the same car was taken to Mayo University Hospital with serious injuries. The male driver of the second car was also seriously injured and was taken to University Hospital, Galway. Donald Trump says he plans to turn himself in to be arrested by authorities in Georgia on Thursday to face charges of election interference. A judge in Atlanta has set bail at $200,000 but has agreed that the former president can remain free as long as he doesn't threaten or intimidate witnesses. Trump denies 13 charges, including racketeering and making false statements. He also faces 3 other separate criminal cases. Residents of Los Angeles and San Diego are still under tropical storm warnings as Storm Hilary continues to cause floods, mudslides, high winds and power outages. The storm initially made landfall in Mexico, killing at least 1 person, and is now moving northwards.
Historic rainfall across much of western US as a weakening Storm Hilary continues to batter the region. The record-breaking storm unleashing flooding, mudslides and debris flows, stranding vehicles and damaging roads. Emergency responders have been conducting swift water rescues amid rapidly rising rivers and flooded roads. Flood watches are in effect for more than 25 million people from southern California to northern Idaho. Places that normally don't see flash flooding will flood, the National Weather Service said. As tropical storm watches and warnings expire for the coast, mountain and desert communities further inland are bracing for potentially catastrophic flooding. It's now making its way northwards to further western states, Nevada, Oregon and Idaho. Maxine Bramley, Virgin Media News.
The south of France is under an extreme heat warning. The red alert, which is the country's highest extreme weather warning, is in effect for 4 regions in the south, with temperatures expected to rise to between 40 and 42 degrees Celsius today. The warning allows the government to cancel events in a bid to protect the public. Wildfires continue to rage across Canada, threatening homes and forcing mass evacuations. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has issued a state of emergency and deployed the military to help tackle the blazes. 35,000 people are under an evacuation order in British Columbia, while a further 20,000 residents have scrambled to get out of harm's way in the Northwest Territories.
We really packed the minimum, and like you're in a panic, you're kind of stressed, so we didn't really pack really well, so we don't even have enough clothes, so we'll figure all that out today. It's the uncertainty, really. We can't plan for anything right now, so we're just playing it day by day for now.
And finally, for now news, a zoo in Washington, D.C. has released video of one of its residents celebrating a special birthday. This panda cub, who lives at the Smithsonian National Zoo, has turned 3. He was captured celebrating with a special fruitsicle cake. This will be the cub's last birthday in Washington, D.C. He and his parents are due to move zoos in December.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
Yes, thank you very much, Ger, and a very good morning. We're live here from the Phoenix Park in Dublin now this Tuesday, and coming up with the coming hours, we're off to visit the city farm within the zoo, and they've got lots of farm animals, brand new little piglets as well, so that's all to come in and around 8:45 this morning. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Jason O'Reilly with us on cameras once again, and it is a dry and settled start for most areas out there this morning. Some light showers through parts of Dublin, in across County Meath, through parts of the northeast as well, but elsewhere it is holding sunny and settled with some nice bright spells pulling through that cloud now. You will notice those winds a little bit on the bumpy side, moderate to locally fresh from the west. Now, right across today, those winds will make their presence felt as we edge our way into your Tuesday. And out there today, it is that mixture cloud cover with some brighter spells. And in fact, that sunshine winning out, especially across the southern half of the country, looking pretty good with good, decent temperatures as well. Top values of around 17 to 21. We could even edge up to about 22 degrees through parts of the sunny southeast. And right across into tonight, some light showers into northern spots. They'll die away. In behind it, we'll see another system of rain build into parts of Munster through the southwest. So another bit of a wet ride into your Wednesday morning for parts of the south, with overnight lows no lower than 9 to 13 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up here in a dry, sunny, settled Phoenix Park at the moment. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's paper, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline, Macrame pressures banks to raise rates for savers. The Minister for Finance indicated that he expected to see rates rise for depositors in the coming weeks, putting pressure on Ireland's banks, who have been strongly criticised for failing to pass on European Central Bank interest rate increases to savers.
4,300 children on waitlist for mental health support. That is the front page of the Irish Independent. This comes after the Inspector of Mental Health Services last month told parents she couldn't provide an assurance to them that their children have access to safe, effective and evidence-based service.
The Examiner leads with Triathlon Ireland refused to sanction Cork race. Ironman organisers were told by technical officials that it was not possible to give the green light on the event due to adverse weather conditions. 2 men died during the race on Sunday.
Fatal swim race not sanctioned is the top story on the Daily Mail and the Mirror. Similarly goes with Ironman race failed safety check.
And the Sun leads with Tub gets UK TV offer. Wait for it. Ryan Tubridy was contacted by GB News for a potential new role just one day after he was dumped by RTE.
The Herald goes with stab suspect allegedly had a knife on Lewis. A court has heard that a man accused of stabbing another man on Grafton Street had blood on his clothing and a blood-stained knife beside him as he left the scene on the Lewis tram.
The Star leads with who's afraid of the big blonde wolf. The owner of the dog that was dubbed a wolf that escaped from Dublin Zoo in a circulating TikTok video has said, Blondie is my best mate. You can see him there in the front, very clearly a dog. He's no wolf. And Derek is at the zoo this morning to get the latest on what's going on with poor Blondie a little bit later on.
Owner Joe Berry cuddles his dog Blondie, but it's mad to see the pictures of him in the CCTV at night time. With the eyes.
And you wonder why people on TikTok believe conspiracy theories. Bad lighting.
After the break, as the third level accommodation crisis continues, we'll be hearing from a UCC student who may be forced to take a gap year if she doesn't find somewhere to live in the next coming week.
And these headlines have been almost the exact same, going back to 2017. I think I got to their student accommodation crisis every single August. We would love to hear from you on this today, what the situation is. 089 611 111. We'll talk to you very shortly. Welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, we were talking about this yesterday when new statistics came out. Over 30,000 students are currently searching for housing in Ireland ahead of the new academic year, and those who don't find anything will face long commutes, sleeping in cars, and of course a huge amount will have to defer.
Yeah, joining us to discuss is UCC student Orla O'Byrne and Zayed Albert Guti, Vice President of Campaigns at USI. Good morning to you both. Orla, let's start off with yourself. You are finished first year, going into second, hopefully going into second year. You did have accommodation last year. That runs out in the next couple of days. What is your current situation?
My current situation is I booked accommodation for my first year in college, and that ran out the end of June. And currently I am in a very safe neighbourhood, paying $600 a month for rent, and it is up in 7 days and I still can't find another place to live.
Okay, so what's the situation like? Are you continually just have alerts on daft? Are you putting in all the contacts and nothing is coming? You've got no hope?
I've got about 100 Facebook groups that I've added myself to, posting every day going, anyone please have accommodation, looking through them, going on daft every single day, hoping to find anything.
And last year for your accommodation, if I can just, because a lot of people, you had student accommodation last year during your school year. How much was your student accommodation?
It was nearly 10 grand for 9 months.
10 grand for 9 months. So you are in, there's a communal space, you got your kitchen, your living room, and then how many of you were in the flat?
There was 9 of us altogether.
That's a lot of money from 9 people. 10 grand, 9 people in one place.
It's a lot. Basically you pay for the gym that they supply, the yoga studio, the table tennis, 3 absurdly big study rooms and a games room that has a PS5 in it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So tell me, if you do not get student accommodation the next week and college does start, what will you have to do?
I will have to move back to Limerick and defer a year.
Genuinely? So you would be happy to defer, like you've no other options?
Pretty much, if I want to go to college while living in Limerick, I'd have to commute every morning, and the earliest bus won't get me in until around 9:30, and most of my class will already be started by then.
Okay, so it's just an impossibility, right? And then you've got the same thing that's going to happen next year, probably, because you're involved with all of this now. And I'm going back through papers, and we're back at 2017, and this crisis is something that comes up every single year, but 30,000 rooms. What are you hearing from students around the country?
We're hearing similar stories as this. We're looking at every possibility being brought up now, because students find themselves in a very precarious situation with this. Whether it is going and seeking options that are far from ideal, whether it is to avail of the rent-a-room relief, which is just a fancy word for digs that we've known our whole lives, and is being posed to students as this long-term sustainable option for accommodation, whereas it comes with 0 protections involved for I don't know if you can call them even a tenant in such a situation. Or then you look at even worse situations where you're looking at couch surfing, sleeping in cars, hours-long commutes every day, both ways, and unfortunately, deferrals and dropouts. And people who remain in academia or in education after that are suffering all the stress, just the mental health on a decline, really, because of this. So it's really... It affects every aspect of your life. If you're lucky, you keep going, and it's only about luck.
We were shocked when we read 30,000 yesterday, but again, this is every year. But actually, 30,000 isn't actually the accurate figure. You think it's more, because that's only taken into account 68% of the student bodies. So you think the number is much higher than 30,000 students looking for accommodation?
Far higher. I think this is only a specific type of accommodation, which is public purpose-built student accommodation, which is usually, well, not public, but usually owned by the colleges. So that's where you get the numbers there. And that's only, I think, it's a very low percentage of the student body that avails of this type of accommodation, and let alone all the other types and other places people are looking for. So it's a very tiny population of what is actually the problem.
We'd love to hear from you this morning on this 089 611 111, because as we said, it's nothing new. We asked a government representative to come on, many government representatives to come on and chat to us this morning, and we couldn't get anyone to come in and have a chat with you. But I'm just wondering, like, when you hear all of these things, like, do you believe anything that comes out of the government's mouth about trying to fix it? Because we've heard about increasingly luxury accommodation coming on board, which students don't need. We've heard about places wanting to change the usage of student accommodation so that they can take in refugees. And we've heard these really horrible stories about individual landlords. But again, it is their property, and legally they're doing nothing wrong if they are charging rents that are at a market rate.
I think it's definitely the state where or the government where the microscope should be targeting. Really, it's not the landlord, or it's not the provider. When the government is allowing them to act in this way, we can't. It's much easier to blame the landlord to put it down as a full use and enjoyment of the property which they're entitled to, when the government is enabling that. And you see the government coming out saying 14,000 tax-free if you have a free room. What does that say? It just says that it's an acceptable rate to charge for a room that is not subject to any minimum standards, not subject to any sort of protection.
So you don't agree with the rent-a-room scheme like digs?
I agree ultimately with putting a roof over someone's head, but doing it in a wrong way and then putting that as a long-term sustainable policy for student accommodation, no one buys it. Now, or even far worse into the crisis, which we're looking into getting now, no one will buy it. We said it to the minister. We had a meeting with Minister Harris, and the minister has been engaging. Fair enough on that, but we said legislation for digs. We weren't the first people that said it. And we said, ultimately, and on the most immediate and urgent sense, emergency student accommodation for the first 6 weeks of the year. First 6 weeks of the year, the period a student needs to settle in, cannot be achieved without having a secure place of living. And as you said, it's not new. We're expecting it. The figures out are concerning next year. So they know where the problem is. I don't know where the intentions are to solve it. We're looking at a total package of, I think, €1,040,000 to pump into this crisis.
Which, to be fair, if you think about the other crises out there, that's just a drop in the ocean for the government with this. So on this, so Orla, I'd love to hear from you. And like, if you have to take the gap year, like, what sort of impact will this have on you and many of your friends in the same situation?
This will mean that, one, the friends that I've gotten to know during my course, I won't get to see them for a year. They'll be a year ahead of me. I probably won't connect with them as well as I have. And that'll be a big shame, because making friends in college isn't all it's cracked up to be. It also means that I have to move back and take a good few steps back in a journey that I've moved forward. I've gotten myself to come to Cork, and you know, I was able to put myself up for so long, and I would be able to still put myself up, but there's just nowhere to go.
That's the thing, there's just nowhere to go for so many students, and some of the situations that have been highlighted there. And we didn't even talk about the fact that there are on DAF right now people who are offering rooms in exchange for sexual services as well, which is a huge issue that the guards need to be looking at immediately. We'd love to hear from you on this 0896 111 111. If you're in college, going to college, you know what we're talking about here. It never seems to change. Saeed Barghouti, President for Campaigns at the Union Students of Ireland, and also Orla Byrne, UCC student, hopefully again next year. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for that. Still to come, with car companies competing to include the latest in technology. We're going to be chatting the pros and cons of infotainment systems while driving.
We'll be back with you in just a minute on Ireland Day.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
Yes, good morning, Ger, for the Phoenix Park here in Dublin. At the moment, it's a dry and settled start weather-wise, and in fact, a lot of you waking up to some really nice sunshine out there this morning now as we edge our way into your breakfast time. Those light to locally moderate westerly winds in the driving seat. They'll be taking us through the next couple of hours. Temperatures there as we wake up in and around 14 to 16 degrees. Now, right across this afternoon, pretty decent day in store. In fact, that sunshine winning out across the southern half of the country. Top temps of around 17 to 22 degrees, warmest through the sunny southeast. And into tonight, more light showers into northern areas did clear off, and in behind it, another system building through parts of Munster into the southwest. We're expecting plenty of showers there as we wake our way into your Wednesday morning, with overnight lows there back to 9 to 13 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up for now. We'll pop along to the zoo and we'll be back again live at 8.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
Now, according to the HSE, there are currently 4,361 people on waiting lists for child and adolescent mental health services, which we know as CAMS, here in Ireland.
Here with that story and a lot of the other stories making the news this morning is news editor with the Journalist Sinead O'Carroll. Good morning.
How are you?
To you, Sinead. I don't think for anyone who's been following the news, this comes as any surprise, because we've seen this for a long time with CAMS. But when you think that there's over 4,000 children.
Ellen Coyne has set out the statistics in the Irish Independent this morning, and this isn't a surprise to anyone. We know the waiting lists have been one of the biggest problems for young people in the country, but just to see how stark they are, and also the postcode lottery element of it. So Dr. Susan Finnerty, who did the report into this and who has said to parents, that she can't guarantee that they have a safe, effective service, mostly because of waiting lists, but also because of other reasons. And she has said there is a postcode lottery. So if you're living in Cork and Kerry, you are at a greater risk of being on a very long waiting list if you're a young person who needs help. And the problem with this is people will age out of CAMS. And there's also a second problem, and sometimes they get seen and told they're not eligible. So sometimes these waiting lists end up with actually no proper outcome at the end of them.
Yeah, we have people on talk about this all the time, that they've been waiting to get onto CAMS and all of a sudden they got on it, and they don't get the services that they need as well. But even to think that if you're from Cork or Kerry, there's still 976 young people ahead of you on the way. Like, what hope does that give to parents who are trying to give the best for their children?
And the knock-on effect as well. So you're thinking that's 976 children, probably the same number of families, and then there's probably people who haven't engaged yet, but thinking, like, do I have to engage? Is my child now at the point where I have to engage? Our GPs, I often think of the impact on this on GPs as well. GPs are seeing these people, like, at the front line, and there's only so much that they can do when there's nowhere that they can refer them onto. Now, there is the one thing that the HSE has said, that they do see the vast majority of very, very urgent cases within 72 hours. Now, there's a couple of problems there. It's not 100%, it's at 90-something percent, I think 94%. And also 72 hours should probably be 24 hours. So there's still a little bit of work to do there. But for those urgent cases, you know, that are extremely high risk.
Every effort is made.
Yeah. Well, it's we already had showing that there was over 40 recommendations saying why this is not fit for service and one of the worst services in Europe to try to help children. So that's lovely and comforting. 0896 111 111. Everything that comes out about this service is worse upon worse upon worse. We're going to move on to a different story now.
The banks.
To the banks. The banks that don't want to pass on interest rates but have made more profits than they ever have in their history. Now there's a central bank data breach. That doesn't sound comforting, Sinead.
No, so this comes on the back of, obviously, the Bank of Ireland glitch last week. So there was a glitch in the system of the central bank. So instead of, basically, the central bank keeps records on all of bank customers' credit. So, you know, if you've missed a mortgage payment, if you missed a credit card payment, they're only meant to keep it for a certain length of time. A glitch meant that they didn't delete what they should have deleted for 3 months. So if you want to go, Myrna, and get a loan in the bank, they will look back at your credit rating for X amount of time. Okay. It went back for 3 months longer than it should have. So say if you'd missed a payment in those 3 months, that would still be on your credit rating, and it shouldn't have been.
Can affect 20,000 people.
So 20,000 people are affected. And now it definitely impacted, so we don't know how many of that 20,000, but it has definitely impacted people because the central bank realised this on foot of a complaint from somebody who had obviously realised, you know, there must be something up with my credit rating because I was told no for this, but there should be nothing on my record that should lead a bank. Now, the central bank have said it's only one thing that financial institutions look at when they decide whether to give somebody credit.
But when you're talking about loans being passed on to vulture funds without anyone knowing about it, this is unacceptable.
Oh, yeah, and the central bank has said it is a data breach which has impacted people, and they're going to look and see, can they contact the people who they think it has impacted, obviously, if they've contacted banks. But I think on the back of the Bank of Ireland stuff last week, and what you were saying about profits and the fact that people often feel like the banks aren't actually working for them, even though we are their customers. So I think
a lot of them.
Yeah, another kind of...
Yeah, I think exactly as you said, to follow on for that kind of IT blip or failure by Bank of Ireland last week,
and
it just doesn't put trust in for the public.
Like the central bank are the ones who have said, you know, we have to investigate Bank of Ireland.
Overseeing it, yeah.
They have a glitch in their own system.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Shall we talk about something a bit brighter this morning? Maybe. Well, maybe not brighter for guys. Yeah, not for men. Turns out we're not such good parkers. I've always backed myself as good at parking, but obviously not.
You can. You're not all men. It's okay.
Not all men.
Hashtag not all men, Tommy.
So tell us more about this study.
The specific question, Tommy, is have you had a knock or a pang, as this survey says, when you've been parking the car?
Yes, I have.
There we go.
Yeah, I had beepers on the back of my car once and they didn't work, and I was just going back and the beeps never happened and then hit into someone.
OK, so this new survey, just to let everyone know, a new survey has found that women are better at parking than men. This is something that will drive people absolutely insane. You know, well, no, I'm not, because my mother once said out loud, sure, it's called a bumper for a reason, Brendan. Calm down.
Well, this is the other thing, because 50% more is that women admit to it, or only 8% of women admit to hitting someone. See, that's the other thing.
Oh, so now it's not all men, but all women are liars.
Do you not think...
Patriarchy.
Do you not think... I definitely think my wife and I wouldn't be too quick to come to me if she had a little tip in the car and I kind of go, what happened there? Don't know, it wasn't me. Wasn't me.
So this morning I looked up loads of studies because I was like, you know that thing that they say is men are better at spatial awareness, therefore they're better at parking. So I was like, I wonder what the recent science says on it. So there was recent science done on it to bring together all the surveys that have been done on spatial awareness to see who's actually better. And what they found is there is differences start coming up in like preschool, so like when people are in preschool. But the thinking might be that, you know, boys at that age are given toys that help their spatial awareness, and that's when the gap starts widening.
So it all starts at a young age.
But we now might be starting to close it because we're getting more confident at our parking.
But hey, it doesn't matter as long as there's one person in the relationship who can park. Just because if you have to get out and he has to get me in to get into the tight space,
or there's a button,
there's nothing wrong with that. Or your beep beeps. We would love to hear from you in your house when you've gone outside. Any dings if parking causes an argument, if you'll always drive into a parking space or show off.
There is nothing like the feeling of doing a parallel park right, though. It's worth trying it just for that one time. It'll work out
the
properly.
Ryanair siren that goes off whenever you...
people stop on the street.
Sinead Carroll from the Journal, thank you so much. And as if just by magic after the break, we're going to be talking about car safety and the problems with touchscreen on your cars. That's coming up after the break.
TDP.
Good morning, you're very welcome back. Now, with the latest technologies becoming a prominent feature in new vehicles, there are now more opportunities to become distracted while driving.
As if you need it anymore.
This is so true.
Here to discuss the pros and cons of car infotainment is motoring journalist and editor of the Sunday Independent, Geraldine Herbert. Good morning to you, Geraldine.
Good morning to you
Before
both.
we talk about that, you've brought this car in with you today, so tell us about this. Tommy's doing his best trying to sell it there, pros. What is this?
Okay, this I think makes a pleasant change from electric SUVs. It's nice to see an electric hatchback. It's 100% electric. This particular model has a range of over 500 kilometres, so realistically you can probably safely do 450. You know, with a mix of driving. So it's the Cupra Born. The starting price is 42,000. This is a particularly high spec model, so it's priced at 60. But most people won't be buying this one. They'll be buying that 42,000 one. Yeah. So
what sort of class? The ID3. Kind of how does it compare price-wise and range-wise?
Okay, it's essentially the ID3, but it's repackaged as a Cupra. So it's got those kind of more sporty aspects to it. But essentially, that's what you're buying. Cupra, of course, is part of the Volkswagen Group. But where it competes in the market would also be with the likes of the Hyundai Kona, the Kia e-Niro, the MG4 would be a big competitor. So, you know, it's slightly more expensive than those. The MG4 would probably be the cheapest in that bracket, but it's a really smart-looking car.
We're looking in here, and the entertainment system on this is not too bad because you get into some of the cars now, and my God, it's just all screen.
The big BMW you had with you last time, it was like a television screen in front of you.
Like this is will cause problems because a lot of it's going to be touch screen and stuff, and is it
takes
safe
your eyes
to
off
have
the road?
that?
Yeah, this is the problem more than anything. The idea of the infotainment system was to reduce all the buttons and controls and actually to make it easier and safer. But what we see now is just technology for the sake of technology. So you can now access Spotify, Netflix, all of these things from your car. So the problem is with some of them, now they're not all the same, but with some of them you really have to go down and scroll through all these menus to get to where you want. So more people are taking their eyes off the road.
And you're pressing the...
And there's a concern around, are they actually more distracting now than the potential benefits that they were supposed to bring in the first place?
You used to be able to keep your eyes on the road and feel where the volume switch was.
The proper touch ones, yes.
Yeah, exactly, because you knew.
Where now you have to take your eyes off the road
to read.
To try and change the radio station or put on a new song. And now there's even Wi-Fi on some cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's questions being asked about, you know, do we need to have design guidelines and regulations around these? Because that's the problem. There's also research has been conducted that even voice control is distracting. So, you know, the alternative to actually, you know, doing this on a touchscreen is just shout at it and go, get me the climate or get me this. But even that, the research has shown that it actually forces people's eyes off the road. So what BMW are saying now that these touchscreens will be gone in the future, and what you'll have is heads-up display. So you'll be driving and you'll see heads-up display. You'll actually see everything directly at your eye line in front of you. A lot of cars have those at the moment.
Like would this be
in the cars?
No,
would this actually
literally
be
through
in the windscreen?
Yeah, it'll be displayed up on the windscreen, like literally just in front of you.
But how do I change the channel on
Again, you'd probably do that.
It's probably
Controls on the steering wheel, so at all times your eyes would be on the road. Yeah. But I mean, we've yet to see. I think an awful lot of more research needs to go into this, and I do think actual guidelines need to be.
Is it proven that people are having accidents, maybe not big accidents, but smaller accidents, by just trying to fiddle with the stuff and the entertainment systems?
Yeah, I mean, we know for definite that driver distraction is an issue. You know, they reckon in Europe anywhere between 10 to 30% of all accidents or collisions are caused by driver distraction. A lot of that is mobile phone usage, still picking up the phone. Yeah. So there isn't as much. I know. It's determined.
Come around this.
There isn't as much research on these screens and the issue with them, but definitely, like in Australia, there's a huge amount of research going into this at the moment, and they reckon about 16% of collisions are caused by touch screens and driver distraction.
Voice activation is still a distraction. Like, what tips would you have for people then who do have these infotainment systems, who don't want to pick up their phone, but they do want to be able to change the channel? Do want to, pick what radio station on listen to?
Yeah, I think the thing is just take a bit of time in the morning or whenever you're going to just get all those things set beforehand. So get the climate control at where you want it, get the radio station you want, or if you want to listen to an audiobook or something, but get it all set up and don't be doing it on while you're driving. Because I mean, it's a huge temptation, especially these new systems that actually mirror your phone. You know, like, so your phone is up on these touch screens. All the apps that are on your phone are displayed.
Down menus.
Yeah, so I mean, that's temptation. So it's just, I suppose, to realise. Another thing is, Toyota ran a campaign at one stage about putting your phone in the boot and just not having it. There's a lot to be said for just leaving it somewhere where you can't access it and going, right, whatever's on the screen, I'm going to stick with it now, and that's it.
I saw that because we kept mentioning here on the thing. Did it work? Do they know what the results of it were?
I don't know, but if you sit at the traffic lights, there's so many people still on their phone that I'm not sure.
I actually can't believe with the technology in cars and the Bluetooth that people still...
Yeah, they still pick it up. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
There's no excuse for it, because nearly every new car has it, but even older ones have Bluetooth. Or you can buy a device that'll plug in.
Well, listen, on the last story, thankfully for myself and Alan, it's got those parking sensors. Does it have good parking sensors here as well?
Good parking sensors.
No camera, unfortunately.
No camera?
Really disappointing from that point of view.
Won't suit men, but for women it's perfect. Geraldine Herbert, as ever, thank you so much for coming in to see us. Now, still to come this morning, the artist Spicebag chats to us about his latest project and the storm of criticism he's faced in pursuit of drug policy reform.
And Derek's on the pig's back as he visits Dublin Zoo. We'll see in a few minutes.
Hello, welcome back to Ireland AM. Let's take a look at what's coming up.
Coming up very shortly, the artist and activist Spicebag will be on to talk about his latest campaign that aims to tackle drug use.
Yeah, his campaigns are always really viral. There, some say controversial, some say they're satirical, but you always notice them. We'll be chatting about them in just a little while. And then later on, Dancing with the Stars, Jake Carter and Karen Byrne will talk to us about waltzing, whirlwind romances and their word of the day.
Looking forward to that. Also, we're going mad for macrame. The crafting trend taking home decor to the next level.
Alan, he'd love a bit of macrame in the kitchen, wouldn't you, love? Macrame.
I know, but I'm sorted in the kitchen this morning, guys, because Jack O'Keefe is making, well, it's a casserole. It's basically a casserole. I love my stews. I love my casseroles. So this is right up my alley this morning. Look at that. Can we see it? Oh.
Look at the way the chicken is falling apart. A proper braised chicken with sausage,
it's too hot. I was going to try and show the camera. So what is in it?
So it's a chicken sausage casserole. Basically, it's called Scarpariello.
Scarpariello.
Hola, something along those lines. And it's a New York it's an American-Italian braised
Guys,
casserole.
you've got to see this. Look at that. Scarpariello. Can you see that? Look at that. Oh, yes. Look. Chicken, sausage, everything in there. Whoa, loving it. And why is it an American dish?
It's just like Italian immigrants who settled in America about 100 years ago. This is what it evolved into. It's the perfect Tuesday meal for a family. We'll go through it at the cooking segment and we'll talk all about it and how to make it delicious, how we can make it here in Ireland. It's really simple.
OK, looking forward to that. And Derek is gearing up to chat about two adorable animals later on. Derek, how are you getting on in Dublin Zoo?
Good morning, Al. Come here. It was far from New York. Jack O'Keefe was reared. Anyway, we've landed outside the front gate here of Dublin Zoo. I kind of feel like Dora the Explorer. I've got my little backpack on. We're heading for a little adventure. Of course, the city farm is located within the actual zoo itself. They've got some lovely little piglets. We're still looking for names, but first up, guys, I've got to figure out how do we actually get into the zoo? Has anyone got keys to the gaff to let us in? I don't know. Come back later on.
Doesn't he look like he's heading off on his school tour and his mum has given him a $5 to make sure he can get his lunch with the bag on his back?
There's definitely someone behind that gate, Derek. Go and press the buzzer.
So. We'll play the Glasgow team.
Lads.
Okay.
Genuinely can't get in.
We're going to find out later in the show if Derek actually gets into Dublin Zoo. Is allowed into Dublin Zoo.
Bosco's going to show up and let him in. It'll be great.
You need to be chill to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
Garamila Maha got your Tommy Bjorn Shaw Park of Fionishka. We're live in the Phoenix Park here this morning, getting past 8 o'clock here together. Let's take a look weather-wise now at how it is shaping up. And it is a dry and settled start. You'll be glad to hear out there this morning. Some light showers clipping counties, Meath up to the northeast as well. But elsewhere, holding mainly settled with that mixture of cloud cover and bright spells. And you will notice if you're heading out about those winds, a little bit on the pacey side, moderate to locally fresh from the west. Now, right across this afternoon, not a bad one in store. We're going to see the odd light shower clip in, but elsewhere it is that mixture of cloud cover and brighter spells. Sunshine winning out, especially across southern sections, and in fact, that's where we're going to see the warmest of those valleys out there today. Top temps of around 17 to 22 degrees, so pretty decent out there this Tuesday. Warmest to the sunny southeast. And into tonight then, showers across northern areas dying back. Elsewhere, holding dry and settled before we see a system of rain build through parts of Munster in across the southwest. We're expecting a bit of a bumpy start into your Wednesday morning with overnight lows no lower than 9 to 13 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up for now. We've got lots of city farm action coming your way. 8:45.
You need to be chill to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's paper, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline, McGrath pressures banks to raise rates for savers. The Minister for Finance indicated that he expected to see rates rise for depositors in the coming weeks, putting pressure on banks who have been strongly criticised for failing to pass on European Central Bank interest rate increases to savers.
4,300 children on wait list for mental health support. That is the front page of the Irish Independent. This comes after the Inspector of Mental Health Services last month told parents she couldn't provide an assurance to them that their children have access to a safe, effective and evidence-based service.
The Examiner leads with Triathlon Ireland refused to sanction Cork race. Ironman organisers were told by technical officials that it was not possible to give the green light on the event due to adverse weather conditions. 2 men died during the race.
Fatal swim not sanctioned is the top story on the Daily Mail, and the Mirror similarly goes with Ironman race failed safety check.
And the Sun leads with Tub gets UK TV offer. Ryan Tubridy was contacted by GB News for a potential new role just one day after he was dumped by RTE.
The Herald goes with stab suspect allegedly had knife on Lewis. A court heard that a man accused of stabbing another man on Grafton Street had blood on his clothing and a blood-stained knife beside him as he left the scene on a Lewis tram.
The Star leads with who's afraid of the big blonde wolf? The owner of a dog dubbed a wolf that escaped from Dublin Zoo in a circulating TikTok video has said, Blondie's my best mate, he's no wolf. And Derek is at the zoo this morning trying to get inside to see if Blondie is indeed just a dog that TikTokers are
Blondie
looking for.
going down to the zoo?
Blondie is a dog.
If you go down to the woods today.
Lovely big dog he is there as well.
Beautiful
and
dog.
his owner, Joe Berry, gives him a big cuddle.
Well, if you see Derek, he's outside the zoo at the moment, knocking at the door, trying to get in. Somebody let me into the zoo, please.
Front of the Irish Independent there as well this morning as we were talking about CAMS, and over 4,000 children and adolescents are trying to get into the service. It is quite frightening. Susan said that this service to these children is not only heartbreaking, but it's only making their mental health deteriorate more as they wait on lists they might never even get on.
There's another. My son is still on the waiting list, and the stress of it all is really affecting him. We looked into going private, but we just cannot afford it. I have no idea what we're going to do. And unfortunately, Martin, even with private, people are finding it very hard to get services in private area because they're too busy.
Yeah, absolutely. We were also talking about student accommodation earlier on as well. Over 30,000 students, and that's just scratching the surface, I think, of the amount of students who are looking for accommodation.
And Dean here, imagine being in your final year of college, and for my final year, I had to couch hop or sleep in my car. Imagine that's your final year of college after going through school and trying to get what you want in your college. I lived 3 hours away from college, so commuting every day just wasn't really an option. So I couch hopped or slept in my car.
Yeah, Sinead says, I'm meant to be starting college September, but I have nowhere to go. I can't drive, I don't live near a train station. I'm devastated because deferring is looking the only option at the minute. And we have an awful lot of text messages coming in with the same thing. So thank you for that, 0896 111 111.
And just very quickly about driving. So there's a study that shows that women are better parkers than men. Hashtag not all men, hashtag not all women. We know it. But Anna said, I parked my car at work once and I was walking and I heard a bang and I thought, oh, something must be happening next door. They're having a good time during the day. Came out of work 12 hours later to see my car had rolled back into a wall and never bothered to put the handbrake up.
I'd say there's a lot of stories. I'm trying to search for a picture of my phone, my brother doing that. Have you ever, give us your funny stories.
Or show us what you've done.
You forgot to leave the handbrake on. Yeah. Let us know the chaos.
Yeah, the ones that cause laughter in your house. Yeah. Obviously, we know this can be serious. We're talking about the laughing ones. 0896 111 111. Your parking disaster pictures.
Maybe not funny at the time, but maybe look back at it.
I'm a terrible parker. I'm not now because I have a camera and I've beepers. Beep, beep. I literally don't look at anywhere. I'm looking at my camera and literally got...
Don't say that. You're still meant to be...
supposed to look everywhere.
Anyway, after the break...
I look everywhere.
We're going to get more pictures in. We're going to find out more about that with Alan later. But we're going to be talking about Dublin City Council's that
fake posters basically. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Put up later on.
Talk to you in a second.
Now, a recent stunt of activism saw posters erected around places like Dublin 4, which claims certain areas as designated drug use zones under the false authority of Dublin City Council.
Here to speak about Ireland's drug problem is the man behind this campaign, artist Adam Spicebag Doyle, Senior Lecturer of Applied Psychology in UCC, Dr. Sharon Lambert, and Dublin Northwest TD Paul McAuliffe. Thank you all so much for being here. We really do appreciate it today. If we can throw up one of the posters that we'd seen, you will have seen it go viral, of course, all over the place. What was the point of doing this, Adam? Why did you want to do this?
I suppose it was to raise awareness about the issue. It was obviously meant to be shocking. And it was to bring the conversation. So the place that we put them up, actually to preface it, it's a collaboration between me and another artist, Pattern Up, from the UK, and we specifically decided to put them out in like Ballsbridge and stuff like that, where maybe the impact of
affluent areas of Dublin.
Affluent areas, places that maybe wouldn't have the same level of interaction with the drugs crisis and drug-related issues and stuff like that. So we decided to bring the conversation out there, and I think it was kind of mission accomplished in that sense because it seemed to get a lot of blowback, kind of equal parts negative and positive to it, but it allowed us to kind of start the conversation, do you know what I mean?
Do you think that people got more offended with the posters as opposed to actually the message of what it was being around?
Some people, yeah, I think it went over some people's heads. They got more upset that,
crack cocaine and crack and heroin permitted in this area.
Yeah.
I'd imagine people in those areas of Dublin felt that that doesn't happen in this area. Why?
No, yeah, I think waking up in the morning in Ballsbridge, that's the last kind of thing you're expecting to see. But at the same time, waking up in other parts of the city, that's exactly what you see.
And when what people are seeing.
Yeah.
So to bring it into other areas, of course, it's a massive juxtaposition of what's going on in one part, an affluent area, probably half a kilometre down the road, a kilometre down the road. It's a completely different situation where children are waking up seeing needles on the street when they walk outside their front door an awful lot of the time. So this is perception versus reality for an awful lot of people. When you said it went over some people's heads, it did get an awful lot of people talking about what is going on in our country when it comes to drugs, which was the whole aim. Do you think that an awful lot of people don't look, don't see, and drugs are treated like if it's cocaine and you're rich, it's fine, but if it's heroin and you're poor, it's completely different?
I think people, like people with, addiction issues in, say, an area like Ballsbridge, because there are those people, people that have a cocaine problem or another type of drug problem, they have access to a lot more infrastructure and support and things like that. Whereas someone who doesn't have access to those supports, their life can kind of go downhill a lot quicker and they're stigmatised more for their issue. And that was kind of, why we were throwing them up there to sort of parallel that it's all part of one issue.
And listen, walking around, say, Dublin City, in certain areas, it is a massive problem. And drug use in Ireland is a big problem, Sharon, as well. I was frightened when I saw this. Ireland is has the third highest drug-related deaths in the EU. Were you shocked by this, or is this something you're fully aware of?
No, because we've been the third highest for a while now. And I suppose, anecdotally, because lockdown had such an impact on services, there would have been people who were in recovery and then they couldn't access their support services. Okay. So I suppose people did worry that when the next drug-related index would be released, that there would likely be an increase. So there were over 800 deaths, because sometimes when people talk about it, they talk about the poisoning deaths, which is 400. Okay. But actually there was over 800 drug-related deaths in 2020, because they also record things like cardiac arrest or death by suicide, where the suicide is directly related to drug-related death. And just to pick up on something that Muireann said there, about, in these nice areas where there isn't this visible drug use, the Health Research Board collect the data on drug patterns in Ireland. So the two groups of people who use the most drugs are the people in the highest socioeconomic group and the people in the lowest. They use exactly the same amount. Right. And then the people in the middle use less. But the impact on both communities is starkly different. And as Spicebag said, one group have access to a whole range of services, particularly if they have private insurance, whereas the other group have to wait sometimes very long time for services.
And and familial support is so incredibly important in this, in getting help in all of these things. What's happened? We know it's a global issue. But Sharon, why are so many people using drugs in Ireland now?
Well, actually, sometimes it feels like there's a lot. It's probably somewhere between 8 to 12% of people use drugs. And not everybody who uses drugs ends up with a problem or a difficulty. And you can't look at drugs in isolation. You have to look at it within a context. So, for example, 10 years ago when people went into homelessness, for example, addiction was often a feature. Whereas if you look at homelessness now, people who work in services will tell you that people who are coming in are not substance dependent, but are substance dependent by the time they leave, because the misery and the trauma of homelessness can have such a toll on somebody's mental health that they actually end up using drugs. Yeah. It's not unconnected to the story that you covered this morning in relation to long waiting lists for mental health services. Yeah. So we know actually there was often a chicken and egg debate, which comes first, drugs or mental health. One of the largest studies ever done shows that actually mental health starts in adolescence, drug use starts in your early 20s. So often drug use and problem drug use is actually a response to somebody's poor mental health and struggling to access the services.
Paul, let's bring you in on this. We've heard the stories. We know about the waiting list for the likes of CAMHS, but drugs is a major, major issue in this country as well. What are the government doing about this?
Look, I think the important thing that Spicebag, the Sharon and myself are doing is trying to bring some of the learning that we have been exposed to from the issue in our communities to a much wider audience. And I think that's what the Citizens' Assembly is about. The Misuse of Drugs Act was passed in the 1970s. It hasn't worked. The drug problem has got worse since then. A lot of people, as you say, may not be exposed to it on a day-to-day basis, but everybody is impacted by the drugs crisis. And if you haven't been now, you may be impacted by addiction with alcohol and other issues. And we have to get to a point where we start to treat the addiction and we stop demonising people for
what is the government
as a choice.
Doing? We know the problems. What are the government doing?
Well, look, the Citizens' Assembly is a big issue. I think actually across the Oireachtas in different parties, there is a view that we should be be moving towards something like the Portuguese model. The Citizens' Assembly was established to try and explore that. And
so the question possession of small amounts of drugs was decriminalised.
So there's a difference between decriminalisation and legalisation. Decriminalisation would mean that there would be no criminal sanction if you were caught with it. Legalisation would mean that you would be permitted to use it and it could be sold in a shop. There's still a lot of disagreement around that. There's even disagreement within people who are on frontline service in the drugs industry, or in the drug sector. But I think if we move towards decriminalisation, we'd be making a big step forward to try and help people.
And who's against it?
Do you know, actually, a lot of people are people who are afraid of making this problem worse. A lot of people whose families have been impacted by addiction are worried about making the problem worse, and we have to bring those people with us. But as Sharon said, at the Citizens' Assembly, when people are exposed to the facts around this issue, many people open their minds up, and that's what we want the public to OK, Spicebag's posters might be causing a shock and impact, but the message from all three of us here is the same. The message is that our current drug system isn't working, and we need to be open to new ways of doing this. And the question will be, will the political system be brave enough to respond to that?
And we have to respect people who've decided to get involved with the system and actually advocate for change, right? So that is incredibly important. But the issue is here, you see it in every city and every townland in this country. And it was decided back in 2017, I think it was, that we would have injecting centres, that we would try to do something safely for people who need these services. But it's very much, you said it's a drug industry. I know you accidentally said that. That's what we have in Ireland. It is a drug industry. Why aren't these centres happening? It's 6 years ago now when we said, OK, we need to do something. Is it pure NIMBYism? No one wants it in their back garden, but they know that we have to do it somewhere.
Well, the problem is often these centres are placed in areas which already have felt like the state has let them down over years, and a lot of pushback often comes from the same communities. Drug treatment centres have been very controversial for decades. I didn't use the word industry accidentally, because actually we've got a situation now where the industry is almost having more of a negative impact in areas than the substance that they're selling. And that we've come a long way, because initially it would have been all around the substance, it would have been all about the impact it has on individuals. Now, in places that I represent, you have gangland criminals effectively having headquarters where they're selling a product.
Yeah.
Now, decriminalisation won't deal with that, and no country in the world has been able to crack that problem of how do you deal with the illegal drugs industry. But what it would help is people with addiction issues and allowing them to move to treatment and recovery quicker.
And Spicebag, listen, these posters have promoted this conversation, and they have done over the last while since you've done that. But what would you be asking from the government? Like, what made you want, feel that this needed to be done?
I suppose, well, again, the point with the campaign was to sort of platform a kind of conversation like this, which I feel like is a conversation that needed to happen. I'd be all for, medically supervised injection centres, things like that, to reduce, harm, because you have, a couple of decades now of a more or less failed war on drugs. Like, it doesn't work, and you need. I don't think there's a way to just stamp it out. You need to be able to reduce harm, and that's to the users and stuff. So. Yeah, that's kind of what we wanted out of it.
And all the studies showed that drug use gets worse when you go into a place like prison, and that it can lead to worse addictions. And if you're wondering what we're talking about when we talk about the Portuguese model, please Google it, because it is something that has worked in Portugal. They have seen a huge turnaround. It has been amazing what's happened there. Spicebag, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Sharon Lambert, Senior Lecturer of Applied Psychology in UCC, and Paul McCall of TD for North West Dublin. Thank you all so much. We'd love to hear from you in this 0896 111 111.
You're very welcome back. Now we've got tonight's dinner sorted, and we're going to save you a trip to Italy in the meantime.
Jack O'Keefe is here cooking up an Italian chicken casserole, and you've got one man very happy here.
I just love all stews and casseroles. They're perfect, aren't they?
It's the best thing ever. Do you know what? It's lovely, it's delicious. It's a proper American, Italian comfort food family meal, right? To start off the dish, you need some chicken thighs, or you can use a whole chicken, or you can use chicken breast. Chicken thighs and chicken legs are the best because of the fat content in them.
OK. Cook both sides of it?
Cook both sides, get them nice and brown. Look how crispy it is. Good cast iron pan, or you can do a Dutch oven like that. Just get it really brown. Do the same with the sausages, get them nice and brown, and then just cut them up. You see the way they're still raw in the centre. set them aside.
Why are they still? Oh, because they're going
to finish them in the broth now in a second, right? So hot pan, and then into that hot pan, we're going to take some bell peppers, an onion, and some garlic.
Okay.
Just all mixed up together and pop it in.
Lovely.
And you can do this with whatever you have at home, right? Keep the pan nice, medium heat, because you don't want to scorch everything, and just let that saute off. While that's sauteing away, I have some rosemary and sage.
Them.
Oh,
come on, here we go, right?
Mind those fingers now. Do you have your safe pass done for that?
Huh?
Do you have a safe pass done for that?
No, I have not.
So while the herbs are being chopped, we're going to grab some butter and just pop it into the skillet. That's going to enrich it, add some comfort to it, and obviously more butter, more better.
Right, there we go. There's your... What's that?
That's desperate, Tommy.
Is it?
That's absolutely desperate.
How do you do it without chopping your fingers?
That's why I'm who I am,
he's a chef.
That's why I'm here doing this segment.
Okay, right. Come on, that's...
I don't ask you how you finish off a try up on the wing.
Go on, it'll do the job.
Right, pop in your
Lovely.
sage, pop in your rosemary, give it a stir. Give that about 3 to 4 minutes, right, on a nice medium heat. Then once you do that, then we're going to take some flour, and this is what's going to thicken up our sauce, make it really creamy and delicious. And about a tablespoon or so of plain flour goes in then. And with the butter, it's going to create a roux, which is going to be a thickening agent for our sauce.
Okay.
Scrape it all together, getting all that chicken flavour that's stuck to the bottom of the skillet.
That'll be a gorgeous
mixed in.
bottom.
And Jack, is that just any flour you might have in the house now?
Just make sure it's plain, because if it's self-raising, it'll have like soda and stuff in it, and you'll get that fizzy taste off of it.
Oh, okay, plain flour.
On top of that, then we're going to add in some roast peppers, the ones that you get in a jar in the supermarket, or you can use pickled peppers, or you could use olives, or whatever you want.
Okay.
Right. Pop those in, and then on top of that, some white wine.
You enjoying that, Al?
It's delicious. Sorry.
Okay, so the white wine, is that to deglaze it now, or is that to just kind of add a flavour?
It's both. Deglazing
Okay.
all the chicken fond off the bottom of the pan,
Okay.
but also it's adding that winey flavour to it, right? Or you could use beer as well, or cider.
Yeah.
Once the wine goes in, crank up the temperature. Look at it thickening up already.
You're not going to give them
And
the
all
nerves
you have to
that
do
have.
is just bring the wine up to the simmer just to boil off the alcohol.
Okay.
Once the alcohol comes off, some chicken stock, and all that is a jelly stock pot and some boiling water. Pop that in.
A chicken one, did you say?
A chicken one, yeah. Pop that in, and again, bring that up to the simmer. Once it simmers, you can take all your sausage, all your chicken, and pop it back in.
Put it back in.
Put it back in like that then.
Oh, so are you going to let that do in the pan there instead of the pot?
So you have two options, right?
All right.
The easy option is once you get all this back into the pan,
Yeah.
is take this and pop it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees for 45 minutes. And it's magnificent. Straight into the oven, no lid, no nothing. Just make sure you mind your hand, you don't burn it, and pop it into the oven. Or
You'd need one of those pans, though, that will go in.
ideally a Dutch oven like that, a cast iron kind of pan,
Yeah.
or a casserole dish, or you could transfer to an oven tray.
Yeah.
Or just leave it simmer away on a medium to low heat. Okay?
For how long?
For about
45
35, 40 minutes, right?
Okay.
Until the chicken is falling apart.
And I was just about to
bubbling
say,
away.
the
Right.
chicken...
Well,
And look inside this. I'll tilt it there for the camera.
Tilt it there, it'll just show.
Look
There you go.
at how it's just falling off the bone.
wow. So what, if you had the cast iron pan, you had the Dutch oven, you have everything available, what do you think is the best way of doing it?
I think the Dutch oven is the best, especially for
Why?
family style. Just because of the lid, because of the depth, you can get more sauce into it.
This is a Dutch oven here,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
And it's
So do you
safer as
think
well.
if you're big into your casseroles and your stews and all, invest in something like that, go and get a good one?
Exactly. This one only
Make
cost me
bread
20
in it.
euro.
Yeah.
I won't say the discount
bread in
German retailer that I bought it from. But like,
Why
just
did you
keep it
buy
right.
it in a German retailer?
I can't mention the name.
No, but you did.
I did, yeah.
The
Probably
middle
20
aisle.
euro. Yeah. Or the other one that starts with an A.
But you can
Right.
you can do bread and all sorts in Dutch oven, can't you?
You can.
Yeah.
And then
How
once
can you do bread in that?
Basically, you put the Dutch oven into the oven itself, get it really hot, and then you
okay.
pop your actually bread dough, your loaf
Wow,
in
yeah.
here,
Look at that.
and some fresh
Up the stairs,
parsley on
look at
top,
that.
Gorgeous.
and that's it done. That is proper comfort food now.
Jack O'Keefe.
It really
And do you know
does.
what the best bit about it is?
What?
Is the bread.
Because
And dunk the bread in.
I'm not messing. I think this is one of the tastiest things I've ever done on air.
It actually is one of the
Yeah.
best things you've ever done here. Because
Even if you do say so. I mean, it's up to us to say that, Jack, not you.
That's art. I can claim the tax back on that right there.
Yeah.
If
Because
the
the
revenue
other
is
stuff
watching,
is mediocre that you do.
you just deep fry everything.
Anything to distract from the shirt. Anyway, listen, Jack O'Keefe, as ever, thank you very much.
Great
It's absolutely delicious.
Now, coming up after reports of a wolf escaping from Dublin Zoo over the weekend, we've sent Derek to investigate.
He's going to be getting to the bottom of the story after the break.
Are you sure? Now, from lions and tigers and bears, oh my, Derek has landed in Dublin Zoo.
Was that meant to rhyme?
But it's not.
Does it not?
Don't think so.
Tigers and lions and bears,
Anyway,
oh my.
but it's not the lions and tigers he's visiting. Derek, who are you joined by this morning? Oh.
Yes, good morning, team. Welcome down here to Dublin Zoo this morning. We're actually landed in at the City Farm here in Dublin Zoo. Zookeeper Eddie O'Brien is with us. And Eddie, we'll start off with that story that's been doing the rounds on TikTok. A wolf sighting in Ballyfermot. Confirm or deny?
It definitely isn't a wolf, because all our wolves are here. So I believe it's a husky cross with a shepherd. So I think it's an owner has his own dog there walking around Ballyfermot.
But he was a big fella. And we did watch the video this morning.
And I believe he's a very friendly guy as well, so there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing to panic about. But it's definitely not one of our wolves. Our wolves are all here in Dublin Zoo.
OK, and they're well looked after and well minded. All right, let's talk about the City Farm here itself, because a lot of people will come and pay a visit to Dublin Zoo, but they wouldn't know the City Farm is here.
A majority of people do. They do know because it's Pets Corner. A lot of people know about the farm here in the zoo, you know. It's a very small farm. It's the only farm in Dublin at the moment, because there used to be a lot of farms around Dublin, but this is the only one now in Dublin, so we have everything here in the farm.
And in fact, it's a working farm as well, because tell us what you have.
Yeah, we have the cow here in the farm. We also milk the cow here in the farm for demonstrations. We also have goat and sheep, and they do shearing the sheep during the summer season as well, so people get to see all that as well. So it really is great interaction.
And you also have little goats too.
We have little pygmy goats, yeah. They're very popular. People really love them, and they're very popular goats, yeah.
And in terms of the food then and feeding, where does that come in from?
Well, it's all bought from the market. We go down to the markets early in the morning to get the veg, so we have to get the proper veg for all these animals, and we get concentrates then as well. We buy them in bulk as well. And we have the veterinary team here watching all the animals all the time, so they're well looked after.
Now, Eddie, you're here over 35 years, I believe.
Yeah, just a little bit over 35 years now,
A long time. And you started as a nipper. You were only 12.
Yeah, I started here in Pets Corner as a schoolboy as such, and I used to be the pony boy. I used to have pony traps and pony rides, and I used to be the pony boy looking after the ponies here in the zoo.
And from there, then, your career developed.
Career developed over now.
The head honcho
look at me
here.
now, talking to Jake Carter Live TV3. It's fantastic.
It's Virgin Media, by the way, Eddie.
Get
it right. And you've worked your way up.
Worked your way up, yeah, it's fantastic, yeah. And see the change here at Dublin Zoo, it's fantastic. The visitation numbers we get 1 million visitors coming to us here every year, which is amazing.
And of course, the Dublin Zoo is a registered charity.
Basically, a charity, yeah. We depend on the gates receipts to keep things going, to improve on all the animals in the zoo. New habitats being built every year. We depend on the gates receipts, yeah.
Now, let's, the piggies here behind us. It's breakfast time
there
here.
We go, yeah.
Let's talk about that breed of pig. Where are they from?
This is a Tamworth pig. This is Emily, and she has 5 piglets, which is great to see, 5. Okay. She normally have about 8 to 10. She normally has a handful. So she has a nice little number of 5 piglets at the moment, and she's done really well. And we have her dad here as well, the dad of the piglets.
Oh, yeah, who
Jasper,
is the daddy?
Jasper is the daddy. So he's over there behind you there.
So they're in separate living quarters, just like every good marriage.
He stays away at the moment. He goes off to work, and Mammy stays at home looking after the babies.
And how old are the piglets now?
Piglets are just 8 days old now, so they're doing really well.
No way.
Yeah. They grow very quickly, so in another couple of weeks' time, they'll be out feeding on their own, so they'll be on solids. At the moment, they're just on the mother's milk.
We're looking for names for the piglets, are we? I believe.
Well, throw a few names in, why not? Yeah.
We're not looking for anything like rasher or
sausage
bacon
or some nice names, yeah.
Okay, so we want the viewers to get involved and obviously name the pigs.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully the guys will get involved in that back at base. In terms of the development here at the zoo, there's lots of other stuff going on. You have a new lemur enclosure as well.
A new lemur enclosure called Oi. They're actually a nocturnal animal. They're actually a fabulous animal to look at. They're in a dark house, so it's a bit different for visitors coming in. They have to go into a nocturnal house, which is really dark, because they only come out at night time, so they sleep during the day, so we have the light sequence changed. So during the day, it's night time to them, and they go in. You can actually see them out and about, which is really great to see.
And the little red panda enclosure is flying it up.
Oh, doing really well, yeah. They're fine at the moment, yeah. It was great, you know, so real success there. So.
Busy time for the year as well. Kids almost back to school, but another week or so to go.
Yeah, another week or so to go. Weather hopefully permitting, we get more visitation coming in, so we're open all the time. So please come in, come see the animals and support us here at Dublin Zoo.
And come say hi. You can even pet Eddie if you want.
If you want to, exactly, yeah.
So we're looking for little names for these little piglets. Guys, back at base, can you take a look at them here? I was thinking snap, crackle, pop and a little bit of extra. We're looking for names for these little guys. If people want to send them in, if they want to email or submit a name on social, we'd love to hear your suggestions back at base. DublinZoo.ie is where we can find it.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. So
find out more online and across your socials. But from all the little piglets and the little pigs here this morning, back to you guys in studio. They're very cute, aren't they, Eddie?
They're
lovely.
Don't send in any,
Have you got any suggestions?
yeah.
We do.
Well, there's
I'm
four
sure
of them.
we'll have lots of
There's 5 of them.
There's 5 of them.
Five of them.
Five.
Oh, there's 5 of them.
So we need
Yeah, look
5
at them.
names.
Well, we do have Snap, Crackle and Pop so far.
5 little names.
I think of Tony the Tiger and
I
whatever
was
else.
just, it's like he's just going to go with some
Tony the Tiger and Friends.
Friend. 0896 111 111. Coming up,
Thank you, Derek.
dancing duo Jake Carter and Karen Byrne talk making music and collaborating as a couple.
Plus, we've the latest looks to prep you for the changing season.
And we're channeling our inner macramanics as we learn all about the art of macrame. Stay with us.
Hello, welcome back. This hour we have got dancing divas, forward fashion and crafty creations. First up, Jake Carter and Karen Byrne talk donning their dancing shoes as they head to Marbella. Isn't that nice? For their latest fitness dance camp. There's loads going on. We'll be chatting to them in just a little while. I'm going all the way to the catwalk to find out what's current. Alan Hughes.
All the way from over there to over here. And here we go. And here we are. And autumn winter fashion is coming into shops as we speak. And I hate that these couple of weeks where you see all the nice summery stuff disappearing.
It's just literally coming in store, and it's going to be a really, really exciting season because we're celebrating a lot of print and a lot of colour, and that's exactly what we're going to be showing you this morning.
This
Alan.
is very colourful. Where's this
fabulous?
from?
This full look is from Shine Boutique. They're based in Claremorris in County Mayo, but I'm loving the different colours on the print, and isn't it great to be able to see colours, because sometimes for autumn people go very muted, whereas it's nice to be able to see a bit of colour because it gives you a bit of life.
The darker colours.
Absolutely, it sure does. But I'm loving this. I think it looks really, really well.
Very nice
Yeah, so
indeed.
lots
Looking
of colour.
forward to that.
Thank
That's
you.
coming up a little later on now. Tommy is trying his hand at a nice craft this morning. Tommy, what are you doing?
Yes, thank you very much, Alan. I'm here with macrame expert Christina Carrick, who's showing us the latest textile trend a little bit later on. Christina, what is macrame?
So macrame is just a series of knots that you make to create decorative items. Like you can make wall hangings, plant hangers, cushion covers. There's so many different things. A really versatile craft.
Little shiny disco ball holders.
Yes, who doesn't love a disco
I
ball?
love this behind us as well. This is a load of different knots and nice.
Yeah.
Like
all different colours.
A knotted tree. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Well, myself and Alan are going to be put to the test, macrame
fine.
experts by the end of the show. That's coming up at 9:45. Now, Derek is meeting the residents of Dublin Zoo's family farm. Derek, how are we getting on?
Tommy, we're as happy as pigs and woohoo in muck here this morning. Louise, what have we got here?
We have feed bowls or enrichment bowls full of food.
Okay, and you drop them in and they play around with them and try and get the food out.
Yeah, they'll roll it along and carrots will fall out as a reward.
Okay, really good. Guys, in terms of those names that we got coming in, so we've already got Snap, Crackle and Pop. To add to the other two, we've got Tina and Turner. Obviously off the back of Tina Turner, Sylvia and Galway. And then we've got Rock and Cluxton, after Dean Rock and Stephen Cluxton from Barry and Drimna, the All-Ireland champs. So there we go, Rock and Cluxton, they're kind of cool names, aren't they? Or Tina and Turner, but I believe they're all boys, right?
Looks like it, yeah.
It looks like they're all boys, she had to check. Back to you guys in the studio, keep the names coming
Looks
in.
like it, Derek. Thank you very much. You can go off and check if they're boys there now for us as well. We keep the names coming through. Okay.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
Sure, we have lots of names in for our little piglets here at Dublin Zoo. We have got some examples here for some of our viewers. We have got Sleepy, Sneezy, Happy, Grouchy and Greedy. That's from Jimmy Dunlevy. James Kelly sends in breakfast, dinner, lunch, sausage and bacon. Stop that, James. But I think our winner is, we love this one, from Tammy Byrne. And it's Huey, Dewey, Louie, Mooey and Wooey. There you go. So there's our little names for our 5 piglets here at the pet farm in Dublin Zoo. Thanks for sending them in. Now, quick look at weather, slipping past 9 o'clock here together. It's a dry and settled start. Showers just about holding off here in the capital and elsewhere. We're seeing some nice brightness with good deal of cloud cover elsewhere, with showers through the northeast now in those moderate to locally fresh westerly winds. Now, right across today, in fact, not a bad one in store. Sunshine winding out, especially across the southern part of the island. That's where we're going to see the warmest of those valleys out there today. Top temps of 17 to 22, best to the sunny southeast. And across then into tonight, showers to start in across northern spots, easing back though with another system of rain building through Munster in across the southwest. So a bit of a bumpy ride there as we work our way into your Wednesday morning, with overnight lows there no lower than 9 to 13 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up for now. We'll be back again live at 9:35.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media.
With Huey, Pewey, Dewey, Newey and Huey.
Pooey.
You're just making them up
just
now, aren't you?
Just making
Put
up
an
letters
E
there.
at the end. That's what he's
we
doing
had
there.
lots of texts of different names, but nobody could pick 5. So thank you very much for that. Now, we were talking earlier on today at 8:15 with Spicebag, the artist and activist who has been posting pictures meant to look like Dublin City Council put them in about drug use around areas around
drug
Dublin.
use is permitted in this area.
Mainly affluent areas, likes of Donnybrook, D4, areas like that as well. And it's kind of sparked a real conversation about drug use and what needs to be done in Ireland to try and fix it. Verana said, as a person who got caught up in drug addiction from abusing prescription medication, the problem is so real and hard to get out of. I will always be an addict now. My addiction is stigmatised by a lot in my circle. It's a hard battle that I know I am constantly fighting.
And Michael says, it's great to see this issue being discussed. Drugs are the enemy, not the people who take them. Society needs to stop demonising people.
And what was the idea behind putting the posters up?
So the areas in Ireland where there is the worst drug abuse is the wealthiest areas and the poorest areas. But they're looked at in very different ways. So when the posters, we have a picture of the poster, hopefully we might be able to get it there. When the poster says heroin and crack use allowed in this area, drug use free zone in a place like Balls Bridge, they wanted to say, this is happening down the road, you might be seeing needles, but we're not talking about that. But when it happens in an area like you, if you saw people who were taking drugs, we'd certainly be talking about it because you're the rich areas. But again, drug use is happening everywhere. It's not just a certain section of society. And I think...
And there was a talk about going towards the Portuguese system where they do have legalised or
they've decriminalised certain
if you have a small possession of drugs, which means that as opposed to people who are addicts who've been thrown into jail or getting in trouble, they're actually trying to encourage them they can take it, but they're trying slowly to take them off it. And actually their levels of... They were the worst for deaths in the EU for a number of years. They're now the lowest in terms of deaths in the EU from drug abuse, where Ireland is actually third.
It's also important to say that in Portugal, where there are drug injection zones, the rates of drug usage has also come down since they've done this. The rates of drug usage have come down. It's such an important test case to look at because I think anyone who's watching right now knows someone who has had a fight with addiction or is currently in it, whether that be prescribed medication, whether it be alcohol, or whether it be an illegal substance. We all know someone.
And like when you're talking about the violence in cities at the moment, but when you see the drug use in Dublin at the moment, and in the other cities, I'm sure.
But the people are walking around like ghosts.
It's like horrible.
They're like ghosts. It's like they're not living a life. It's heartbreaking.
I saw a girl crossing a main street the other day. She didn't know where she was. And I literally stood at the other side of the road in case something happened to her, and she just walked straight by me.
Yeah, and you got to remember the people that are turning people into these living ghosts are making an awful lot of money and living on the pig's back in foreign countries where they can't be extradited home.
Anyway, listen, we have a lot of texts on that issue and a lot of other things today, so thank you very much for sending them in. We are going to brighten up the conversation after this, so we do have Jake Carter and Karen Byrne who are going to be joining us to talk about balancing dancing and romancing. That's coming up after the break. Now you're very welcome back. Our next guest gave Dirty Dancing's Johnny and Baby a serious run for the money, taking their passion for dancing international with their latest project.
They're laughing over here going, what is he on about? Jake Carter and Karen Byrne. Welcome to the show. How are you? Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. It's lovely to have you here. And I suppose, and I know you get it all the time, being kind of the embodiment of the Strictly get-together. The ones that keep on coming on together to have chats with us. What's it like? Would you recommend it there, Jake?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm putting pressure now. I thought you were asking
Yeah.
Karen. Recommend the show? Or
recommend the Strictly get-together.
Yeah, I mean, it's going all right for us anyway so far. She hasn't kicked me out yet, so...
She hasn't kicked you out yet? 5 years.
You won it 5 years ago. Like, it is.
Mad,
it's insane to think.
I
just don't know where that time has gone.
Lockdown.
Yeah, that was 2 years, yeah.
Do you find it hard because whenever you see another partner, like whenever you're with another partner, you have to get a real closeness with them as well. And like, I suppose to form that bond and for television as well, that's needed. Is it hard to watch on with that?
No. I love it, to be honest. I'm a bit obsessed with the show. I mean, since
He'd just be
Karen's
trying
done
to
it.
like put a say in what choreography we do and stuff. I'm like, Jake,
I choreographed half-air dances last
No,
year.
you didn't.
That's why Shane Byrne was so good.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm sitting there going, I was listening to Gemma Atkinson,
Yeah.
who was in the UK version a
Yeah.
few
Yeah.
years ago, and she's going out with Gorka Marquez, who's
Yeah.
in that version, but she was dancing with someone else. Anyway, she was like, no, I need him to have chemistry when he does it because it's all about the chemistry and the dance.
Yeah.
And it's so important. So you were like dead worried, I'm assuming, when she was staring into Shane Byrne's eyes and Des Call's eyes.
I wish I had Shane Byrne's
Was
hair,
that
put
it?
it that way, do you know what I
Shane
mean?
Byrne- Shane
Them
Byrne's hair.
locks. But no, you get, like, we were obviously great friends when we were on the show, and you do get close and you do create a lot of bonds. You would still chat to everyone that you were on the show with, do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's very cliche, but even the other celebs that you're on it with, you become like a bit of a family. Like, I still chat with Rob Heffernan, who I lived with when I was on the show 5 years later. So you become obsessed with it, and you're in your own little bubble.
I think that's just you.
Yeah. Larry
Jake's
Bass is
still
like, would you
obsessed.
stop turning up
Rob
to the
is
studio,
like,
please?
stop it. Stop it.
Just take the guys to the side, have a look at it. And to be fair, Shane Byrne and Des, like...
Oh, they were so good.
Such characters as well.
Yeah.
I mean, were they much easier than him?
Better crack. Much better crack. It's
Wouldn't
funny
be hard.
because people always say, like, who was your favourite partner? And of course, it's very hard to pick, but everyone always assumes I'm going to say Jake.
She never does. She
But I
always
never
picks
do.
Des.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Why?
I just loved Des, and I mean, it was like the fourth season of the show, so I hadn't a clue what I was doing. And because obviously he had years and years of experience with television and stuff,
Yeah.
so he was kind of like he helped me through it, and I don't know, it's just
You
lovely
do
man.
often, but often you get the characters, the ones that are going to be the Des Cahals doing the Austin Powers stuff.
Like, I don't know if I get them or I kind of mould them into that character. I'm starting to think, is it them or is it me? But I love that because, I mean, if you're going to spend so much time in the studio, you want to have... Yes, OK, it's serious, it's a competition, but you need to have the crack as well. And I love them elements because that's the thing that people talk about on Monday morning. I just see Shane cartwheeling through the dance floor. Like, it's moments like that people remember, not necessarily what the judges want to see, but it's what people want to see at home.
Exactly. People love the crack. They love that side. Is it frustrating, though? Like, it must be hard as a teacher. Like, it would be nice to have somebody who picks it up straight away and you can actually really show off what an amazing dance you can do as opposed to try and get Munch to do a cartwheel.
Come here, you do 3 cartwheels in a row. I tell you, that's hard.
I've seen Shane on the rugby pitch. I mean, that is hard going. I understand that. But it would be nice to, like, it must be, you know, you don't get frustrated
Of
with
course
that?
you have that competitive edge. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it's bred into me, competition. But, I mean, like, say Des, he got to week 10 out of 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know I keep going back to Des.
I know, you are
But
obsessed
yeah,
with
okay,
him.
you want to have a real good chance of winning.
Yeah.
But you also, just because you have the best dancer doesn't mean you're going to win.
But
no,
But what this
Other
has
than
done,
when I won with Jake.
but with dancers like you, because you really did take to it, it makes people at home think, you know, I can do this, and it is keeping ballroom and Latin alive, bringing it to a whole new audience. Because you would have competed for Ireland at the international level, so you'd know a lot of those top dancers.
Yeah.
When you chat about what this show has done for your industry, what do you make of it, Karen? Like, it can only be a good thing.
It's amazing because I think the fact that people say someone like Jake little boys looking at the TV and seeing it in a masculine way, because unfortunately in Ireland dancing is kind of portrayed as like a feminine thing to do. It's not as masculine as joining the rugby team and stuff. But I think when you see the likes of Jake and a load of other celebs that have been on the show, it kind of makes them little boys look and go, hang on a minute, I want to try and give that a go. So definitely, like I've seen it in my dance studio alone, there's a lot more boys coming in and a lot more girls as well, because I think ballroom and Latin was seen as like an older person's thing. It wasn't seen as what it's like on telly. So yeah, it's great to watch.
Absolutely, it is good, and you see that the guys really enjoy it as much as like the girls, nearly even better. You're taking it abroad as well. This is your new excursion.
Yeah, we've a new venture. We're going to Marbella at the end of this month. We're doing a 4-day dance retreat. So it's basically just going to be loads of dancing and having fun in the sun and teaching people how to dance. There you go.
Oh, touche.
Yeah.
So sweet together.
Spending too much time together. So it's going to be great. This is the first time that we're doing it, and hopefully we're kind of planning over the next few years to make a bit of a community, and it to be a thing that we run maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the year, and just for people to have fun.
These retreats all the time for yoga and wellness.
I've
and
never
fitness.
seen a dance one.
But yeah, if I was getting married again, maybe you kind of think, oh, I want to show off and do a first dance.
Hopefully you don't get married again.
I was just say, when you reaffirm your vows, not can I get married again.
But if I was thinking about it, if we're in here and they wanted to really show off in their first dance, or even, you know, other like an older group wanting to get, like, it's something fun to do as a couple.
Definitely, and we've had messages of like couples saying, oh, could we come on the retreat? And there's people coming that are just on their own, and they don't necessarily have anyone to go with, but they're messaging saying, is it okay for us to come? And that's what we want. We wanted it to be like an all-inclusive thing, that you can come if you're young, old, if you're with someone, if you're in a couple. That's the plan, do you know what I mean? And hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to go really well at the end of the month.
Yeah, I think it's such a lovely idea, because you have these retreats for so many things.
Yeah.
And if you kind of think, I could enjoy dancing and it'd be a lifelong thing, and you're getting fit as well while you do
Top up the tan as well, yeah.
Look at you, oh my God.
That's the good Scouts.
Will you be getting the guitar out?
I'm taking it over, yes.
Of course he is.
A few sessions every
That's
night.
probably the worst thing for these people. Is
I
they're
know,
going to have to sit there and you're going to serenade them
They're going to have to listen to me for 2 hours every night.
No, you're just back from Liverpool as well. Like, you got the boat at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I did.
Fair play to you.
I was on the ferry last night with me and Lenny, my dog. Yeah, we got in at 5:30.
My dog, you mean?
I'm sorry, our dog.
Okay, let's leave this
Our
till
dog.
after camera.
Our dog.
But on your Instagram, it's great crack, the two, because you have the Dublin accent, you have the Liverpool accent as well. You kind of pronounce things different way. And I love the story about you going into the butcher's recently.
Oh, yeah. No, so that we like, for years, me and Karen have always slagged each other the way we speak, do you know what I mean? And I'm living in Dublin, so people normally slag me over it. And one of the days I went into the butcher's in Ballyfermot, where Karen's from, and I was on like a fitness buzz, so I was asking for turkey burgers. And your man behind there was like,
I
don't know what
definitely
they
think you
are,
were winding
sorry.
you up.
I think they were. And I was like, have you got any turkey burgers? And he was like, don't have them. So then I had to put this big Dublin accent. I was like, have you got any turkey burgers? Oh, yeah, they're in the back here, yeah. So, yeah, that kind of started it.
That was very good. So you do a word of a day. You do this on Instagram. It's very enjoyable to watch. So, you know, we've got some words to see how you pronounce them differently. Right, Karen, you go first.
Okay, what's the first
number one. We'd say that the same, number one.
Curry.
Curry.
Curry?
Yeah.
Curry. Okay.
Yeah. Curry.
You wouldn't say, like if you go to a curry shop, what, like, you'd get a battered burger.
That's not the chipper.
Okay, say two.
How do you say
number two?
How do you say battered burger?
How do you say?
Battered burger.
Battered burger. Battered burger. Give us another one there, Karen.
Number two.
Butter.
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 Yeah.
Butter.
Butter.
What's the next one?
Now the
You put a
third
H
one.
in it.
Etc.
I've never seen etc. spelled.
I say it like you, etc. But it's not. It's etc.
Etc.
You say it with an X.
I say with an X.
Etc.
You do as well.
Etc.
Etc.
Oh, gee.
Okay, well, let's finish off with turkey burgers.
Turkey burger.
Turkey burger.
Turkey burger, that's what I like to say.
I'm more Scouse because I've been home the last 2 weeks.
Turkey burger. Do you have a new song coming out? You've got a video out
We have a new track out at the minute called Down the Road to Me, actually, which is about being from Liverpool and obviously being so close with the Beatles and seeing where they were from and literally strawberry fields just down the road. I was drinking coffee yesterday on Penny Lane, so I decided to write a song about that. It was a track called Down the Road to Me. Yeah.
Class. And it's an acoustic version as well.
Just released an acoustic. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even really want to release it as a single. It was just something I put out there, and people seem to love it. Yeah. So
if you go on this dance retreat, you'll be on the next single at this stage. You'll have you as the backing singers. Where can people find out more? It's online.
It's all online on Instagram, Facebook, and on Marbella Dance Retreat. If you type that in on Google.
Marbella. Oh, it sounds like good crack. Can we do a live show from there? That sounds good.
That's it. Jake Carter and Karen Byrne.
Thank you.
Dancing with Stars coming back?
Fingers crossed.
Why not?
Absolutely. Such a success.
Now, after the break, we're going to be exploring next season's trends with some fashion-forward finds. Yeah, I'm getting ready for my next marriage.
Plus, we're going to have to phone home with that one. We're going to be taking on the latest textile trend, that is macrame. We'll see you soon.
As the change of season fast approaches, just to remind you...
It's like you're going into a poetry reading there.
I was like, it's not the night before Christmas, lads. We've got the perfect looks to keep you on trend.
Mandy Marr is sitting by a window.
A window.
That's a really posh introduction, thank you.
Mandy, good morning. We're talking about autumn-winter clothes.
We are.
Let's get on with it.
We were just saying this morning, obviously we need to take into consideration that it's only now that the stock is arriving into all of the boutiques, and it's really exciting because we're going to be celebrating a lot of colour this season, and we said it earlier on, it's great to see the bit of colour coming through.
Yeah, but I hate to see all the nice summer stuff going out, though.
I know, but we need to. With this weather of ours, I'm sorry, now we're done. We need to get some nice new fresh bits in, I think, at this stage.
Our look one today, our first look is with Laura.
Yes, we're heading to Shine Boutique in Claremorris, Wirral, and I love this boutique because she always has something a little bit quirky and a little bit different. But you see here today, it's all about print. It's exactly what we're going to be celebrating today on this particular look anyway. And starting with the waistcoat. And it's a really lovely waistcoat because it's actually reminds you of it as if it's a heavyish wool, but it's actually a really, really light wool. And it's...
Is that a waistcoat?
It is a waistcoat. So it's actually what they're calling a snow white. It's a new word on white. It's called snow white is what they're actually calling it. But I'm loving it. There's little pocket details. But again, like that with a waistcoat, sometimes people might want to wear a big heavy coat. So this is a great option if you want to be a little bit warmer, something like the waistcoat.
We're over here laughing. We're like, that's a coat.
That's a coat. It's not a waistcoat, it's a coat.
No,
waistcoat coat. We'll come up with a new fashion word so far.
The shirt here, because this is a two-piece, it's not a one-piece.
Correct, that's right, it's a two-piece. And you're going to see a massive amount of this on your catwalk this season with other stylists because it's all about the matching two pieces, and that's exactly what we're showing here this morning. It's a fruit print, and we were trying to make out what fruit it was, and so between us we couldn't really, but I think it's kind of like an orange is kind of an effect. But I'm loving the colour because it has the aubergines, it has the creams, exactly the colours you expect to see for autumn.
You're making it up as you're going along,
No, definitely not. That's the truth. We were actually laughing. We were saying, what fruit are we calling this? And we didn't know. Seriously to God, you're having me out. Thanks, Mirren, for being on my side on that one. So we're going to the gorgeous aubergine bag, and it's a crossbody. We decided to shorten the length of the bag too. And then what about these great earrings? They're a leather earring, and they're actually from an Irish designer called Siobhan Daly. And Shine Boutique always stock lovely Irish labels as well, and supporting Irish designers, which I'm loving. These are gorgeous little leather earring, and in the orange, of course.
Laura, you were fabulous.
Lovely,
Thank you so
and you're looking
much.
for a fruit suit. You know where to go.
Exactly, Ellen. I'm loving it. Thanks very much.
All kinds. Helen is back.
Helen is back, and we welcome Helen this morning because she's making her debut this morning, of course, on Ireland Day. But again, celebrating lots of colour with this particular outfit. We're starting with the blue jumper. It's a blue fluffy jumper. Now, we had the option of wearing it this morning, but we decided we just wanted to show the dress, and that's the reason we didn't put the jumper on, actually. But it's lovely. It's a really soft, fluffy jumper, and I'm loving the colour. They have them in a few different colours, but particularly love this particular colour in the blue.
Because with that, if you can do it properly, you can wear a jumper over that dress. You have to have a belt on, but you can tuck it in, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's why I just felt the dress was beautiful. It's
dress is lovely, though. Are these flowers?
And these are the flower print, and then basically they've lots of colours going on, as you can see, for the autumn as well, and lots of colours you can play with in regard to the different colours you can accessorise with. As you see, we picked it up here with this gorgeous leather bag in the red. And again, like that, they have these in lots and lots of colours as well. But loving the red because obviously picks up with the red in the dress too.
Absolutely beautiful. Can I say, Mandy, you're a pure professional, but this fella trying to put you off. The earrings.
And
next,
they were matching
please.
up then with these gorgeous earrings. Then again, like that, they're an Irish designer as well. And Messy Brunette is the name of the lady. But again, like that, celebrating the Irish as well. And I'd like to also wish Shine Boutique the best of luck, because she actually launched her website today for the very first time too.
Oh,
so it's very exciting for her.
their website.
Absolutely, you sure can.
Love supporting the Irish companies.
Absolutely,
Helen,
for sure.
thank you so much. Congratulations on your debut. We'll see you back soon. Thank you so much. Beautiful dress
Helen.
there. Floral dress. Alana is next.
So then we've Alana, and we're heading to Ivory Lane. Ivory Lane are in Castletroy Shopping Centre in Limerick, and they're also in Oran Town Centre in Oranmore and Galway. But again, like that, it's celebrating the print. And this time we've seen it with it's mushrooms this time. So we're getting the whole lot of the vegetables this morning, really, and flowers. But anyhow, that's exactly what it is. But I'm loving it because it's every colour you can think of.
It's going to be birds now.
Honestly, I don't know what this guy, what he has this morning. But anyway, but I'm loving the fruit to the veg. So there you go. And I'm loving it because it's a really beautiful material of a satin material. And again, like that, you can easily pop it on with jeans and everything like that. But we went with this great denim skirt, which
now,
I
this
love.
skirt, structured midi-length skirts, this is going to be the shape
It
of
really
the
is.
season. It's going to be huge.
And that's exactly what we said about it earlier on. It's actually the style of this particular skirt is beautiful, and the quality. But I love the fact it's high-waisted as well. I think it's very elegant and chic.
Did you add the chain? Or
No, the chain actually comes with it. The chain actually does come with it. And then we teamed up then with a pop of colour by going with these sparkle shoes. The sparkle shoes were an option. Would we go with the sparkle shoe or something a little bit more demure? But I just thought the sparkle for a bit of colour.
Makes it really nice. Oh,
it really does.
Showcase them.
It
And the earrings
sure
today?
does. And then we went with the earrings again from Ivory Lane. It just brings in the different colour tones with the shirt, so it works quite well.
It's gorgeous. I've got my eye on about 5 of those skirts because I just think that they are going to be
it is, and
big,
it's beautiful, and the quality is incredible on it as well.
Thank you so much, Alana, for that lovely turn. Loving the mushrooms. Now keep it together for our last look today. Laura,
we kept it very
back.
simple with the last look.
God, don't be birds.
So I'm loving this. We actually did. We paired right back on this one, but I love this because I'm very much the person that loves a really smart, casual outfit for daytime, and I think this ticks all the boxes for sure. A wonderful blazer. The blazer comes in various prints, but I'm loving this because it's just a simple check of the powder blue, and of course we pick up with that beige tone as well through that check jacket.
And the shirt is gorgeous.
And the blouse, we were actually, again, when we were down doing the fittings earlier on with the models, we were just saying about wardrobe staples, and I think a piece like this always works wearing really, really well. It's timeless, it's classic, it'll never go out of fashion. And again, like that, it's beautiful, loving the high neck on it as well, and of course the cuffs that are matching too.
It's beautiful. The jeans. Skinny jeans.
Skinny jeans. They're a dark wash, as you can see here. They're actually a new kind of a colour wash. Again, high-waisted and a great stretch in them. Because I think sometimes when people come to jeans, they just don't know what to choose. But there's a few different things you should keep in mind when you're choosing a good pair of jeans. They're worth the investment.
And you've gone, we're pure
I know,
here now
I'm so sorry, but I have gone. I've gone with the boots in the nude shade. And again, like that, do you know when you have wardrobe staples and you say with shoes, you should always have black, silver, golds. Same with the boots. These are a great boot to have because they literally match with everything as well.
Lovely.
Just small little pair of earrings there with them.
And then, Alan, we just paired it literally right back, and we kept the earrings quite simple because of the outfit itself, and a simple little pearl and diamond earring then to match.
Lovely,
and that's
Laura.
all from Ivory Lane, as I said, in Limerick and in Galway as well.
Gorgeous. Laura, thank you so much. And I loved at the end there, Alan's like, thank you, holding it all together after you laughing your whole way through that.
But this is what you're going to be seeing for the season. Get ready. It's going to be all about prints. It really is. It's going to be huge into print.
Mushrooms, flowers, fruit.
You're actually
Alan, exactly.
I'm actually crying here. My mascara is running.
Consummate professional for keeping
Thank
it going.
you so much.
Thank you over here doing what we're doing. A pleasure.
Now, coming up next, can't wait for this. From plant pots to wall hangers, we're going to making some decor for our home. We'll see in a few minutes.
Can we flowers?
Yeah.
Standing behind here. Now, whether it's to decorate the home or quiet the mind, Macrame is a hobby that's becoming very, very popular.
Yes, and Christina Garrick from Gra Augustonus Creations is here to tell us more about this cool and quirky craft. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Christina. How are
And
you?
it really is, we're talking about people that's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
But macrame's been around a long
Oh,
time.
it's like 13th century. Arabic weavers used to use it back then. It's been huge. It's travelled across through Europe then, where sailors were crazy into making it. They used to sell their wares then when they landed in port. And then it kind of tippled out a bit. And then obviously in the 70s, it was huge. It came back massive,
Yeah.
like waistcoats, all that, belts,
yeah.
everything, all those cool things, you know, all the old owls and everything you used to see, and plant hangers and wall hangings. And then definitely in the last about 4 years, it's really taken a surge
They're
again.
coming back. I can see Alan wearing a macrame waistcoat.
How did you get involved in it?
Me, it was when I was getting married in 2017 and I was looking for work or pieces to decorate the venue with. And I came across it, but I knew I wouldn't be able to do it before the wedding. And then I couldn't find a workshop for ages in Ireland. And eventually this girl used to come over from Sweden to teach a workshop. So I done one workshop with my friend and we just both absolutely loved it and just kept going since
And
then.
we can see the wall piece that is behind you here. It is
Yeah.
absolutely stunning. Some of the glitter ball holders and whatever else are class as well. But what is it? Like, what is macrame?
Macrame is just like a textile craft, so it's just a series of knots, knotting techniques, and there are thousands of different knots you can learn.
So is it hard to learn all of it? Like,
No,
well,
not at all.
Well, let's us start
Okay.
because you're going to put us to the test.
We're going to
here. So
learn
what
this knot. It's called a spiral knot because the way it kind of spirals around. So what you're going to do is you're going to get these 4 cords here, and you're going to make like an L shape like this over these 2, and then this goes over there. And it goes behind these 2, and you pull it to your left and you pull up. You want to give it a go?
Right.
Don't fear it.
Talk us through it again.
Okay.
Thousands of these.
Thousands
that you have
of
to try and
knots.
remember them all.
Oh, I wouldn't even know half of them. Yeah, I
Really?
just kind of go with like, there's probably about 20 basics.
Okay.
But like loads of people like give themselves like things where they'll do a knot a day to learn knots.
Oh, a knot
So
a
if we were
day.
to do a waistcoat, what would be the best, the most common knot?
That would be a square knot.
A square knot. Are we
You're
learning a
looking
square
down
knot
it.
today?
No,
Are we
we're not.
Okay,
No,
we're
we're doing a spiral.
Easiest spiral.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of the start.
So what was that now? So you have, I'm trying to do it so it's this side of the camera. Right, so 4 pieces of string,
Right.
1 here.
This one comes over here,
Okay, right.
and that goes behind there,
Oh, and in
and through that.
round the bunny ears.
And pull out.
Okay,
So
right.
I got it there? No.
No, you don't have that.
Oh, I did
Okay,
get it.
So
I
here
did
we go.
get it there.
I think
Listen, can I just talk about some of these lovely pieces that, like, say this piece here, this huge
Yes.
piece here. Like, how long would that take to
That one
make?
took about 10 hours because there's a lot of weaving there through all the different
Yeah.
colours in it there in through it. Yeah.
And who would buy these pieces? What would that be now? Would that be a wall piece, a wall piece of art?
that's a wall hanging. Yeah.
Like, we just take it up there and just show you there. No, just to move it out and just show you there. Look at that.
How did you get out
Look
of
at
doing
that.
a knot?
I did a knot. I'm just like, people be interested to see
Okay.
these pieces, though. They're
Right.
fabulous.
Okay, so
like, how are you
You're
getting
doing
on with
really
your
well,
knot?
Yeah. We'll go on to another one. It's called the lark's head, a reverse
Right.
lark's head. This
I
is really easy.
Don't think that's the spiral knot.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you
Okay.
have
Then you're gonna
workshops
go.
then?
What's the
do you?
next
Yes, I do workshops.
Where do you do your
I
workshops?
do workshops out in Argillan Castle and also in Fumbly Stables in Dublin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got this one. What's
Yes.
this one called?
It's called a reverse lark's head.
Okay, what's
so come in
this
from
reverse
behind.
lark's head?
There you
Well,
go.
I'm doing it for the
Yeah,
camera
okay,
side.
there you
So
go.
here we go. So through,
Yeah, perfect.
and that's it.
That's it.
Oh, that's an
it.
easy one.
Macrame, eat your heart
That's
out.
easy.
Honestly.
Right. So that's just putting it through there and doing that.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's.
And what was the square knot then? Can you show us how to? Do you know how to do it?
Of course, yeah.
Will
She
you
knows
show?
how to do a square knot. Look what she's
Go on,
done.
show us the square knot. How do you do that? Because that's
Square
the most
knot's just
common
a
one.
part of it. It's the most common one. You're literally just doing this
This.
and then this. You're just doing the reverse of your L.
So what's like just a bow? Would that be? Oh, that is quite
like a
cool,
bow.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I ask you then, when the workshop is happening and all the people are just sitting around, is it very peaceful and quiet and everybody just working away?
It is so meditative when you get into it. It's just one of the most relaxing things I find. You just get lost in your little zone of, because you're just kind of doing a repetitive knot constantly, you know, most of the time. And you're just completely lost, and it's just so mindful. It's
so Tommy being there, being competitive with everybody, going, look at I'm done. Maybe not as relaxing as one would think.
But they have been, like, you've used these in, like, festivals and, like, loads of different things.
Yeah, we've made, like, big, massive arches with disco balls all through it and everything.
Like, I'd say the one's the plant holder, so people will be going, I'd like to make something like that for my home. How long would it take you to make something like that if you were going to one of your workshops?
It'd be 2.5 hours.
Oh, 2.5 hours, okay. And then you could go home, have your plant holder ready.
Well, to be fair, because they're big money in shops.
Yeah,
they are. It's amazing to learn an art form yourself.
It is,
and something that's
and it's
great.
so versatile. You can like make so many different things out of it.
Can I be? I know this might sound sexist, but is
called?
That's a mess.
A Tommy knot.
It's called a mess.
It's called a Tommy knot.
Is it all women at the workshops?
No, we have men as well at it. Yeah, they enjoy it too. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So
it's
what's
for
the
everybody.
website again?
It's www.graaugustsonnescreations.ie.
Cool.
Gorgeous.
And you can go and do all that.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Now, coming up on tomorrow's show, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be exploring the unregulated world of dermal fillers and discover just how easy it is to buy these cosmetic items and online, and not that it's a good thing.
Plus, we're going to have the top recommendations for back-to-school gadgets.
And Derek will be bending it like Beckham with a football challenge. All that, plus your usual news, sport, and whether you're waking up to Ireland AM.
The nose hair has gone out of
Ireland
control.
AM.
I think we need
live
to
from 7.
really wipe the nose. Bye. See ya.
Lovely, isn't it?